there is someone there want to have a message. Her name is Macmillan Lady Mac. That's my young family there.
I beg to differ with you folks. Folks are interested in farming. The
read
problem
it. She said, I beg. Lady Mac is, yes. She says that I beg to differ.
Lady Mac, I beg to differ. The young folks are interested in farming. The problem is access to the lands and the land tenure. That's exactly what I was about to say.
But I think it's good. It's just to say, sorry. Lady Mac, I really appreciate what you just said. But it's not going to be on the, and I think, yes, there's a section of young people who needs to be encouraged to do that farming as well. But we will still, if we are looking at expansion, diversification economically, we will still need to have some kind of effort from people outside as well. So it would not just be a Tobagonian people's effort.
Yes, but she is there to say, you know, she's there to beg to give an opinion, to say when Dr. Wendy came in and said that how many people, so she's saying that there is a lot. I know there is a lot because we still have people home that's really work the land, you know, but they just want the incentive, they want a space to do it. And they want regulation on people, animals, like people having sheep, they're not putting them in a pen. People plant up the stuff they produce and the animals come in. You can't kill the animals, you can't poison them. So we have to have regulation to agriculture. Another thing again, we don't want agriculture with penny and cents. We want agriculture so that we could have factories to process our foods. We want to have factories in Tobago to make we own ketchup, to make we own pepper sauce, and that we could export and bring money in for the people and for our country, for our island of Tobago. Tobago want to see factories. Anybody agree with me?
100%.
Yes.
Definitely.
100%.
Tobago people has plant their own corn till corn to get dry and they don't know what to do with the dry corn. We want to make our own corn flour. We want to make our own dasheen flour. We want to make our own cassava flour. We want to make our own banana flour. We want to make we own buck flour. Don't stop me. We want to make we own peanut flour. We want to make we own rice flour. We have lands for it. Let us get ready to work.
Coco is I think when we talk about
welcome, Dr. Duke.
Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. I think when we talk about it, we do have to also be honest about the challenge it faces, which is there's a lot of nepotism that prevents the actual people who want to do this stuff from getting the recognition from getting the funding that they need to do this stuff. Because I agree, right? You don't need a whole lot of people to want to be farmers, actually. You just need enough people who want to do it to then be given the resources to carry it out, and then not to be selectively held back even when they've done the work, right? Because what we see is some farmers are favored by government over others. Some people's products are favored by others over government. You're talking about the flour. Technically, the Tobago House of Assembly bought up a bunch of businesses that they said they were going to then process and help take these to the export market. Where is that happening? I still don't see it. I go on Amazon all the time looking to buy cassava flour. Cassava flour at this point is $15 US per bag, but there's none that's made in Tobago available to me to buy. I am looking for a number of things. And so as we say we need this diversification, we do need that buy-in. So I love that you guys are having a conversation because I hope they're going to hear, because we know they listen. We know they tend to copy many times. But the question is, how do you make sure the people, because what we've seen is, they identify farming as a need, and then suddenly it's this minister farming and this secretary farming and this, which is not the way it's supposed to work.
Prime Minister doing farming, he have sheep farm.
No, the truth is, if you have real vision, your vision shouldn't just be, oh, that's a great idea, now let me do it. It should be, oh, that's a great idea. Let's make sure the people, our constituents, know how to do this. Let's make sure we contact the schools and say, who are your standout agricultural science students? How do we start nurturing the love and keep it going? You know, how do we get them what they need? You reach out to the schools and you start asking, who are your talented craftspeople? Now, yes, it's also up to the teacher.
Uncle, she brother, son.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's also up to the teachers, again, not to practice nepotism and push forth the wrong person just because, again, we're very
family or friend.
When we see opportunity.
Dr. Duke,
come back.
What's the name of your schoolmate who invested so much money in farming, in agriculture? Call his name. I want to talk about him.
Schoolmates, I mean, we have Sean Ned, who proposed an entire hydroponic system, and that's going on over 10 years. And, you know, that's somebody who, I mean, I'm trying not to bring up everything because, you know, then they're going to say, oh, this is partisan. But the truth is,
it's not partisan.
You look at
I don't know him from Adam. I went with him to look at a property.
Oh, no, you're talking about Johan. That's Johan.
Johan.
Yes, Johan Oliveira. Yes. And so, I mean, there are lots of people, though. There's
real money. He all loans. And the business start, but who taking the produce? The one hotel that he was doing, somebody must boycott him. You understand me? People looking at your outward. Oh, damn it. If he's Rasta, he's Rasta. He's a Rasta farmer. Give him the bread that he deserves. Oh, look at how we look.
Vilified a lot of these people, Rasta, if you're smoking marijuana, blah, blah, blah. But now marijuana is legal, but it's going to take, as they start rolling out the legalities of marijuana.
Dr. Wendy, don't laugh too much. You know, there's a question coming for you on marijuana, so get ready.
You turn that into an actual business. The question is, who's going to profit from marijuana as a business when and if it gets to that? Because right now it's not a business, but eventually that's coming. We know that's coming. It's a slow march toward that legislation to turn it into a cash crop. But who's really going to benefit from it becoming a cash crop, right?
No small man.
Security. That's still not food security. It's just economic diversification, but to whose benefit is the question. And so anyway, I didn't come in to derail the conversation. I just wanted to add.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Du, for your contribution, because I was sitting down and I want to remember her schoolmate. Now, the reason why I bring up his name, you know, there was a piece of property that he had to sell. And I was in Tobago, so I was given the opportunity, as always, to go check out scenes. You know what I'm saying? I am the one on the ground. So if something to buy or something to do, this lady will go do it, no matter how sophisticated or how hard it may be. I know how to approach my people. It's all about business for me. I don't go in there looking for friends or family. Because Tobago, to succeed in Tobago, you have to be friend or family. Or you have to be part of a party, and I don't believe in party. Because party in Tobago is partition, you know, and petition. And I don't like pity party one, and I don't like partition. You understand me? So when I went, and on the way he started talking to me, and I started to make him feel comfortable that, here the first word he tell me. When he hear Cindy mom, he was expecting an old lady with some little old clothes on. So when he come by the place to pick me up by the hotel there, and I come out, he's still looking for somebody, you know, coming towards the car. But he was described to me so openly and so transparently that when I saw him, I didn't believe it. So he look either. Because he come there in a pants roll up with the foot, with the dreadlocks very untidy. So when he see this sexy mama come out, he get confused, and I was perplexed. So as I bought his car, and we keep driving, he's showing me places, and I start to ask him about his life. He thanked me, he said, thank you for talking. I thank you for asking me. He said, my life ain't going good at all. And he started to tell me how many things that he invested. He even invested in cars, giving people cars to drive for him. That turned out to be a big mistake in Tobago. Because young people get in a car that they didn't pay for, and they're using it if it's a tractor. He lost. Then he told me about his farming skills. And then he took me now to the property. Endless dry up okra tree. Okra grow until they bend and make legs for themselves. No market for it. Lettuce growing like tree. You know, after a while, lettuce begin to go tall, tall, tall. With one leaf down here and one leaf over there. No market for produce. So why do farming? He took out loans. So it was a painful sight for me. And all I could have done was to bring down the power of prayer for this young man. The property that he carried me to look at, he wanted to give me the middle of this piece of land. I'm saying this today, not to bring him down, but he's going to occupy the first part of the land. I would have gotten the middle, and the edge that have the brook, the edge that have the water running, that will be his too. I said, no. Is either you're selling the front of the land, which is to the road, or you're giving me the back piece that have the water. Because I'm a water woman. I ready to see little boat and kayak in that place they're moving down and big something hanging over the water. So our relationship kind of ended at that point. But what I'm trying to say here, we're talking about agriculture, but until the government and Tobago itself get a market for people's produce, get factories that when we have a surplus of tomatoes, we have to sell it out now for 50 cents. We have factories. We can, you know how much a bag of dry okra in America? They sell it like a snack. Anybody ever see the okra and the carrots and so in a pack? Look how much money somebody in Tobago can get. And you know our own go taste better because we go season it up in with secret seasoning. Not adobo. But we go use with shadow benny and all kind of thing.
Yes.
To open people's appetite, because that is what shadow benny for. Like people doesn't know. I want to tell them. It's not really a seasoning. It makes you feel to eat. It makes you pass gas. It's good for epilepsy. People knew that? You guys knew that? No.
I knew that.
It's good for sores. It's good for bad breath. Smelly armpit. Hey, you know. If you get
so
spasms,
we can plant it.
Everybody should have one because it does grow anyhow.
It grow wild, but we want to harvest it for economic production.
You're talking today. You think the Indians have it just around their yard? The Indians and them have it as a form of what? Marketing. You just see Indians when they're selling it in the market in Trinidad, it's a whole big space. I only shadow benny. So you want to buy wholesale, you buy wholesale, or they put it in a rubber band and sell it retail. Tobago
so that's where, Cora, just to interject a little bit. That's where we need marketing board. Somebody did put up a question there. This is the role of marketing board. So, and then we need training. Tobago needs a good functioning marketing board so farmers can take their products, right?
We shouldn't use it like that. We should bring back marketing board. We had it before.
It's still there, but it's deteriorating. So I think that's where you have your agricultural officers.
The name marketing board, but the marketing going around village to village and buy by the truckload, we do not have that anymore.
So this is where government in the House of Assembly, agricultural person, the agricultural minister, they need to recharge the agricultural system in Tobago. You need to retrain. They have to do that because they do have workers.
Take a look
but
at
you need to retrain. Sorry?
Retraining is one.
Yes, you have to retrain the agricultural officers.
But you know what is the main thing there with the agriculture? Put somebody in the agriculture who knows
agriculture.
Amen.
Anybody and give them a job, Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of Works. They don't know one thing. Brother Henry, you understand? You are a professor, right? If you want someone to act in your place, would you pick up somebody out there on the street who does know street talk? And you want somebody who is a professor themselves and have the
qualification? One who's qualified, yes.
Coco, can you pick up your phone, please?
Pick up?
Please hold it in your hand. And log in.
But wouldn't it be even lovelier, if I might say so, that the government would try to make sure that even when we do have these farmers, that they make sure that they provide a place for them to sell their goods. Okay, let's say, for instance, I would think that the government should be doing something like connecting them to maybe the hotel chains, that there would always be a supply and demand kind of thing going, that they would have some place. It doesn't make any sense if, as Mama Coco was just saying, with this young man, take out loans, trying to, pour his heart and passion into agriculture and producing, and then there's nobody to take what he has produced. That is defeating the whole purpose. I think that the government should, whoever the Ministry of Agriculture is, I don't know, secretary, whomever, but whoever is responsible for agriculture should be making sure that these people, these farmers, have some place to offset their goods, whether it's to ship it overseas, whether it's to supply the hotel chains, whether it's to supply other islands. I remember last year I was in Jamaica and I was reading a report of all the places, Jamaica, that is famous for jerk chicken and Scotch bonnet pepper, are importing Scotch bonnet pepper. I said, are you kidding me? With all of these lands that is in Jamaica that's just there, why don't you give the land out to the people, give them the grains and whatever they need to do the planting, whoever is willing and able, let them do it. Let them cultivate the land, let them plant, and then you find a way for them to export or supply, the hotels that's there or wherever. How could we, have people producing crop and then there's nobody to take it?
Exactly.
They cannot make back the money that they took out for loans, and all of that produce is going down the drain, and even so there's still hungry, starving people that is there.
Here's the thing, right?
Dr. Duke want to speak.
Right now in Trinidad and Tobago, there is a huge deficit when it comes to foreign exchange, which part and parcel is tied to the fact that we don't export enough things, right? Our sole export was oil and gas, and we're exporting unrefined oil, so that's really the lowest end of the price point. When it comes to natural gas, we are a big exporter, but more and more places in the world are finding their own natural gas stores, so that's changing.
Yes.
Plus, right, we're really pushing hard to get to a more sustainable energy product across the world for Earth's existence and climate science. So we really do need to come up with better ways to not just import people, like tourism, right? You can actually have agro-tourism. We've done a number of travels, and for me, I love doing tourism travel because I enjoy showing up and going to farms, seeing how people farm, but also you can do a culinary tour tied to the agro-tourism, getting to see where food grows. I had no better experience than going to Hawaii and visiting different farms, from coffee right back, and we've got to find ways to be creative, but really it's creativity to also be able to get large sums of foreign income coming in, right? I feel bad to say it, but right now the TNT dollar, its value to someone who lives outside of TNT isn't very high, right? Like even if somebody from home reached out to me asking me to give them US dollars right now in exchange for TT, my follow-up question has to be, but what's the value of the TT to me? You know?
No value.
Take it and put it in any other banking system in the world. And so I think these conversations have to get to the powers that be so they can understand what the diversification means. It's not simply, oh, we need more people coming into the country to spend their money here. It's not when they come in, we're asking them to convert the dollars to our local money anyway. But the bigger issue is when we're so dependent on importing food, importing materials, importing everything, you actually have to pay for those things you're importing with foreign exchange. And so we have to be able to balance imports with exports. And so this is why this conversation is so good.
But then, Dr. Duke,
we're gonna move to Avanell.
Mama Coco, if we were to, I'm hearing everybody saying, you know, importing people to come in with, you know, fresh ideas. But how about challenging our own people to come up with fresh ideas? Because I think that we have so much educated people that I believe if given the chance that we can, I mean, even let's just say foreign nationals, you know, instead of bringing in somebody who we have to pay thousands of dollars to come in, what about tapping into the people that we have, the wisdom that we have? How about just pushing them and challenging them, come up with some new ideas? What do you see? Okay, we've done it this way before. What idea do you have?
So are you speaking concerning us who live abroad and our kids who educated in that field to come back, or are you saying let the people who live in there come up with people who live in there can't come up with no new ideas? Everybody who know I'm speaking the truth. They are already.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's not make it something. People there have ideas. Here's the problem with people there who have ideas is they're also being forced to have to swear loyalty to parties.
The party loyalty.
Yeah. I was about to come in with that. Yes, go ahead.
Ideas, and I agree with Pastor Wendy. People there have ideas. The problem is the common trope is being said that they don't have ideas because literally, if you're not of this party, your ideas don't count.
Or they steal it. Or they steal your ideas.
Yeah. And so I think the first thing is we have to then ask, the realignment of goals needs to come, which is the goal to party or is the goal to Trinidad and Tobago? And if your alliance or your allegiance with the country, you shouldn't then feel like people have to be beholden to party before their dreams make sense. People shouldn't have to be beholden to party before their talent is recognized. People shouldn't have to be beholden to party before their expertise is actually used in the expert area that they're qualified for. But let's have Earl answer. Earl has his finger up for a while.
Earl gonna keep his finger quiet a little. We are gonna go to Avanell because when Avanell finish speak, Avanell, you have 3 minutes, not because you see people coming in and out. You have 3 minutes, but you could come back on. But after your 3 minutes, I know whether Earl will have more questions and Mary.
Right. So
which one you choose?
For me, everybody knows I advocate always for education, but I think there's something else that's to be said when it comes to infrastructure and healthcare. That has to be my number one. I believe health is wealth. And if we don't have great health on our island, there's absolutely nothing that would help our food security, our economic diversification, like all those other aspects we cannot achieve if we don't have great health. You know, going back to things like the hospital, we have all these people within our communities who have the skills and can't use them. We have tools and we don't have people that are trained for, you know, to use them. I think our focus needs to be put back into healthcare. If you have the infrastructure for food security, which is a big problem, we would have access to storage. Find an area where we could have some silos on the island, food storages, food banks right within the island, that we can have people now who have farming or agricultural aspects within the countryside, because that's where the majority of the lands are. And they could say, all right, this is my stock. At the end of the day or at the end of the week, whatever batch I have, I can come and take my stuff, bring it to the silos, and the government can use those and ship them out, and they have the batch that will come in for the people on the island. Now, coming from two parents who went to Kendall Farm School, education in that aspect should be very important. You know, I learned agricultural science within my days and integrated science. There are people who want to do agriculture. There are people who have the skills. Why not? We don't need to bring anyone in. We need to use what we already have, the resources we already have, and build within those resources, you know? And this party politics thing is hurting us more than it is helping us. We have to step aside from party politics. And we have to start thinking as people, what do we want for our Tobago? What do we want for our Tobago? Is this what we want people looking on the outside to view? Is this how we want everyone to see us? We're doing nothing. We have no factories. The water community that we have right now, they're ready to privatize WASA. When they sell our water, what is our portion? We have no commodities. We have no oil no longer because they sold Petrotrin. They closed down Petrotrin and they are trying to sell Petrotrin. We have no water because they're trying to diversify WASA so they could sell it. The port aspect of it is no longer our own because they've privatized our ports. You see a lot of Chinese at the airport. They'll soon privatize our airline systems. What do we have within the island that Tobagonians can benefit? We need to keep within ourselves. We build, look something as simple as Grenada. My stepfather is from Grenada, and they build within their community and still keep things that Grenada is local for, nutmeg and spices. We have things in Tobago that Tobago is known for, like our cocoa or coconut. Build within the things that we have. Cucumbers and watermelon and bananas. They don't have to go and buy banana from Mexico. That cassava flour that Cindy spoke of earlier is the Africans and them making it. And if it's not the Africans, it's the Chinese. We have it within our lands. We can plant and we can manufacture it. We can plant it and manufacture it out to others. You know how sometimes I hear, go ahead.
When you hearing Americans talking about plantains, I make a plantain porridge. What the hell you know about plantain? To make plantain porridge. And people in Tobago can't invest in plantain flour. We can't make plantain chips, one of the best chips in the world.
Yes.
We can't make our dasheen chips. Dasheen chips selling away, you know.
Yes.
You're buying taro, they're calling it dasheen. When you buy a packet of mixed roots where people have snack on, is sweet potato, is carrot, is taro root, which is dasheen, and other things in the packet. And that is a party mix. A lot of people have questions here, Avanell.
Yes.
Can you chop couple, Dr. Duke, and then we go back down to...
Paul Francis says, mad people are in charge.
He also said, good afternoon. Yeah. Denise Hosford is saying, you have to belong to a political party. You see, we talking, right? But I'm so glad that people can be saying and repeating what we are saying because they are in agreement. So let us keep it like if people talking back to us. Go ahead.
is saying forget government. We need to create our own community development and do our own. I absolutely agree by no, Lisa.
Yes, but then we still have to get import license. We still have to get money to do the business. They're not going to invest in you if they don't know you. That's the beauty. That is what causing Tobago to be so stagnated. You have a minute again, Avanell.
Yes. Like I was just talking to a friend of mine. She went out to the store and she purchased 2 mango. And you know, one of the things I always, on my property that I grew up in Tobago, in Speyside, we used to have mango there dropping, ready to kill. So much mango just laying on the ground. We had tons of mango, different types of mango, different, you know, different tastes, different mango for different things. Why not market that? We up here, look how much we paying for mango, and then you're getting mango them like sour no skin. You can't do nothing with the mango on them. And we have sweet Julie mango, sweet starch mango, long mango.
You know, I don't actually think fresh mangoes can be imported from Trinidad and Tobago to the US, for example. So they also have to work on actually getting to certain standards to be able to export fresh produce. Same thing for fish and so forth. And so I don't think we can export mangoes.
And that is,
but we do that here a lot. We get that a lot of Julie and stuff here, and all the mangoes from Dominica, Jamaica.
Yes, but not Trinidad.
So what is it?
You don't get it from there.
Why is it?
No. I think no. I see mangoes coming. No, I see mangoes come from Trinidad already.
Not fresh. I think right now, I'm pretty sure the USDA has certain things. There's some fungus or some worm or something. But anyway,
it was in the seed. Yeah,
it's not for me to guess. I honestly think actually every year, every 6 months, the Minister of Agriculture of Trinidad and Tobago should be getting on TV and giving a briefing to the nation about the nation's export status when it comes to our cash crops. Right? We should be getting a cash crop report. The people of Trinidad and Tobago are investors, they're stakeholders, they're supposed to be getting an annual report of their cash crops. I don't mean, go online and look it up. The same you guys can come on and talk pecan and all this stuff on TV. They should be on TV talking about this stuff, right? It's like we're members of the board. You're supposed to come talk to your stakeholders the same way. Again, I'm going to go back to a corporate model, but you're supposed to, you know, Earl here is a professor. He knows that you definitely have town halls, you have conversations, you bring people up to speed. And I think that's the one thing, like I shouldn't have to guess. Somebody's saying they think we can export mangoes now. So that's great. But, you know, somebody's saying passion fruit and sour sub is being sold in packages in the U.S. Imagine that. Yes. Fruit juice and guava juice here right now. And
I'm telling you.
It says it came from Guam. Guam is a U.S. territory, but it takes about 18 hours to travel from mainland U.S. to Guam. And we still are able to get everything from Guam to here. Yet Trinidad and Tobago, mind you, it's a separate country, but they're 2.5 hours from Miami, you know, by plane. And so obviously we need more efforts, but we also need to hear more. I feel like that's part of the conversation. The Secretary for Agriculture in Tobago, it's not enough for you to be on there talking about how people have mangoes on the ground or breadfruit falling on the ground. I want to see you come on TV and talk about the actual plan for Tobago's crops. Let's hear it. I love seeing Ansel Dennis in his white boots. I want to see more than just walking around with the white boot, though. I want to hear you tell people how your use of the white boot is now going to get Tobago's economy jump-started. What's the actual plan? What's the export plan? You know,
which factory they're going to bring first?
Yeah, well, let's hear how you're going to do it. What's your large-scale plan for freezing? I mean, when I was a kid, you know, we're talking about marketing board. The first thing, right? The word board usually implies multiple people sitting on, right? So
that's right.
Multiple people making money.
Well, who are the members of the board is the first thing. Is that public? Is that publicly known? Where are they coming from, right? So that's the first thing. The second
how much do you pay them per month?
back then, marketing board, you could go and you buy anything frozen, anything that could be fresh, you could buy it frozen as well. You could buy meat and so forth. Nowadays, my understanding is sometimes they have, other times they didn't. But by the mid-90s, people were going to marketing board for ham. You know, that was sort of the expectation.
Half a pig, half a goat.
And all that stuff. So there was bulk, there was excess. And, you know, I know, yes, you could go into Penny Savers now and find those things. We've done it. We've gone home for Christmas and buy even frozen cake, frozen vegetables, frozen guti, manico, guana. But it's not being done on a large scale. So that's the question.
Down Canaan, down where you from, down Bonaccord, there's a place that they sell fresh bush meat. When I say they are guti, them you think it's a dog. I'm telling you, I shouldn't say that, but because it could be. But Mary, can you give your what you have to say? Mary, is she frozen? Okay, brother Earl.
Is she frozen?
It was Earl. It was
Brother
Earl.
Earl. Yeah.
The point I wanted to make was earlier when Dr. Mitchell was talking about the fact that suggestions have been made relative to bringing people into work. I am thinking that we have to be mindful that there has to be a mentality change in Tobago relative to people coming into work, whether it's for agriculture or professional. I know a number of Tobagonians, people who are related to me who went back home, professional people, went back home, wanted to contribute, but somehow the people are a little standoffish, you know, where you go with that, you think you know everything and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there has to be a major mentality change. How do we go about doing that? I don't know. I do know that one of my dreams, if not for myself, is that there should be some kind of state of an art child development center in Tobago, what we call daycare, where we can train our young Tobagonians in aspects of civility and other things, because our society is losing. I mean, Tobagonians, we are all Tobagonians, but I don't know if you have experienced it. When those of us from Tobago go back home, we want to make a difference. I know a number of people went back home and had to leave.
I'm
talking about professional people, nurses and doctors, and they had to leave because the people were not accepted. And these are Tobagonian people.
True.
You know, so there has to be a mentality change. And I don't know, I would like to hear the submissions from the member of the panel. How do we go about doing that? Because it has to be done if we have to be successful relative to having Tobagonians come back home and give back without feeling that they are not accepted as part of the island, you know, and that can be very hurtful.
Very hurtful. Because a lot of people sell all what they have abroad and go home and they lost everything just in the traveling alone. Just getting there and being embarrassed. Like Orville London tells some people to come home. When they get home, he never have a meeting with them. He never answer them. Look, I have a cousin that she sold everything in Canada, including her house. She bought all kind of equipment. She took up her 2 daughters and she landed Tobago. Orville and them encourage her to come home and call in their name. And up to this day, no one have ever spoken to Anne-Marie Atta. I'm calling names today. I'll leave it.
I just want to make one point that this is not unique to Tobago. I have friends from Jamaica and other islands,
it happens
and they tell me the same.
Yes.
I don't know what is wrong with us island people. Something is wrong. A mentality change.
It's jealousy and envy, and they can't departmentalize their emotions in the right order. Somebody sell what they have and they come home. They give up all that they have and they come. Why wouldn't you receive them, listen to them, help them, listen to me? And the people who went home, there's a man from Las Vegas who did the same thing too, you know. He land home with boat, he land home with yacht. They tell him to come. When he went home, no market, no one to talk to them. Minister of Agriculture or Secretary of Agriculture, they turned their back. And I'm talking today on behalf of people that I know should have been dealt with better. Because Anne-Marie Atta is a creative chef. She went away and she went away to Miami on behalf of Tobago, and she win Top Chef, Iron Chef. She win everything on behalf of Tobago. And you feel somebody should listen to her. She doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have a father leaving lands for her. She doesn't have a mother to give her anything. She sold everything and went back.
Well, yeah.
And now she in Canada want to go home and the lockdown.
If I can say, Mama Coco, in addressing Professor Earl's thought process, it's kind of like scripture. I'm sorry to bring it back to scripture, but it is. Remember what happened with the prodigal son? It's the same type of mentality that the son that remained behind, when the prodigal son returns home, he gets angry and he says to his father, well, you know, why you?
I am here working with you and you ain't giving me anything.
I've been here working with you. And that's the same type of mentality, because I have literally heard people say that out of their mouths. Where you was all this time when me the day I walk, and now you want to come back and act as if, say, you know, you in control of something. But listen, let me tell you something. I can say, I have some neighbors stringberry. I have a right to this land too. And if I go abroad and I get my expertise of there and my training, and I want to give back to the land that raised me, who in God's name are you to tell me that I can't? I am obligated to making sure that this nation stands with whatever resources I have, with whatever wisdom, knowledge, or understanding that I have gleaned through my years of being abroad. I am coming back to give back, not to ask for anything. So back away from me, because go look under the mango tree and you'll find my neighbor's string there.
But Pastor William, Pastor, the slight difference is that the prodigal son returned with nothing.
With nothing.
But we have people are returning with something.
We're returning with much. Exactly. But whether you come back with nothing or with something, you are still a part of Tobago.
Yes.
But you see,
so if you want to look at it, I
like the prodigal son thing, but listen to what happened.
Yes.
Somebody received the prodigal son because the father was waiting for his son all along.
Yes.
And he saw him coming from a distance and he went and he met his son. It's just that the one who walking, the father wasn't paying him any attention because the father saw that he always having it. He has it together. He never received anything from the father. Because the father gave, listen, when the prodigal son left, he left full, you know.
That's right.
The father gave him what he asked for. Give me what I deserve, and he left. But he went partying and he went squandering. So his brother felt envious at that time.
I know, yes.
Because his father gone and tell him, go kill one of the biggest bull. Hey, and make a feast.
Never threw a party for him.
The
father never threw a party. The father never threw a party for his son. He stayed at home, he working, he doing it. Father never threw a party for him. This guy come back and party.
But you see what
it does not take away from the fact that the son belongs to the house.
Listen, Sister Wendy.
Yes.
But you know what happened then? The irony in that story and the truthfulness of that story. Somebody received him.
Exactly.
Yes.
People going back home, or everybody turning their back on us.
No, you have to receive us because we belong here. Yes. Can I say this too? That Dr. even while we're abroad, our money has been supporting the economy back there. Hello?
Every day.
Our and our US dollars have been flying through Western Union and going into the banks, supporting the economy back there.
Dr. Wendy, again, right? The government doesn't actually tell people how much remittance comes into Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
And they actually could do that. They could say this is how much foreign nationals remit to our country every year. And let me look into it and I'll get the number because we can actually get it from the remitting companies. So that's
right.
But here's the other thing, right? So I understand why people home feel threatened when people come from abroad. Part of it is insecurity. It's not even bad mind. It's just insecurity. If you've been toiling hard, you're struggling, you're scraping, you're kissing butts, you're being promised over and over, next year, contract soon come. And all of a sudden, there is an opportunity and they bring in somebody. The first thing what we're going to look to do, because we're so used to corruption, is how are they related to the people in power is the first question, so that they can discredit the person coming in. So that we, the ones coming in, actually have to be very mindful and ask, how do this appear to the locals? Because they've been disenfranchised for so long.
Talk about yourself. Talk about yourself, Dr. Duke.
Oh, wait,
Dr. Duke got a work in Trinidad and Tobago, And when Dr. Duke went down, well, I was sitting right next door in a little room there, and she went in on her interview. But here who was the head of health? Claudia Groom Duke. The doctor in charge of the hospital was Nathaniel Duke. Nathaniel Duke's wife was working someplace to another Duke. There was another Duke in some other place. Plus Watson Duke is the union man. And you know what Dr. Duke said? Too much Duke there wrong here for me right now.
Oh yeah, I just felt that people wouldn't actually believe. You know, anyway, that's a different side. But I just decided in the end.
Dr. Duke decided that she's not going in there because nobody wouldn't know her true potential. Yeah. Yes, because
that's true. She's right.
So Cindy seminar go there.
Yeah, listen, I was like, now's not the time.
I don't want them.
I was like, there are just too many Duke's names jumping around with health. That in no way is helpful for what my goals are right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I was saying though, so the truth is, if you're abroad, first and foremost, really, there's not much for you to go home and think you can integrate into government and do. Sure. Right? You really got to go home as a small business. And
they doesn't want to pay you.
Right,
the money very low.
To what Earl said, because the truth is the infrastructure isn't there to support small business though. So what's really going to happen is you're going to come home with a business plan, you're going to come home with a fixed amount of money to put this business into the works, but by the time you're finally done just navigating the bureaucracy, the money's gone. The money's gone. The work ethic also is different from what you're expecting. So if you're coming home with a small business and thinking, oh, I'm going to set it up, hire somebody to work 8 hours a day, many of the people who are on the ground, who are born and bred locals, don't want to work that job for 8 hours. So that is where the foreign labor force is going to have to come in, right? It's really the foreign labor force that's going to do a lot of those jobs that will support a small business that's getting started, particularly in Tobago. And so that's the part, and that's why we're asking these questions, because clearly they're all priorities, but depending on what your goals are in Trinidad and Tobago, the priorities are going to change. The problem is, can the government get everything ready so that depending on whatever people's priorities are, they can grow? Can they grow? If your priority is agriculture, how can it be grown? If your priority is food security, how does that grow? Because food security versus agriculture for export, they're complementary, but they're not one and the same. You know, simply growing 10 extra pounds of tomato is not tomato for export, right? You know, and so you got to understand how to scale, and looking at the scale and really recognizing scale and scaling models. It's not just somebody who said, I studied how to grow tomatoes, I know how to wear these boots and take a photo up. It's more. You need people who can actually then bring in the economics of agriculture and large scale. How do we do that? How do we talk about scaling infrastructure? If you ask me, you didn't ask me the list, but looking at this list, I think infrastructure in Tobago is lopsided, right? Because you're always seeing something new being built, but is it practical infrastructure? Not really. If your drains aren't working, your sewage isn't working, if your public transport system isn't working very well, if people have to still travel to Trinidad for basic needs, your infrastructure actually doesn't work, even though we're seeing new things being built and they're constantly saying, look, infrastructure works because we paved the road. Paved roads aren't infrastructure. And in the US, we see it, right? We just saw what happened with Texas. It turns out Texas's infrastructure sucks. It's outdated. it doesn't match the size of the state and the population growth they've had that they've been so proud of for the last 10 years.
It couldn't stand up. It couldn't stand up to. It couldn't withstand.
And that's what infrastructure really means. Infrastructure is if there were a big hurricane right now, how long would it take for Tobago to recover? That's what you ask about your infrastructure.
They're not recover now.
If Trinidad had, the ports destroyed and boats couldn't come to Tobago, planes couldn't land in Tobago, what happens? And that's what insecurity means. I know here in the U.S., that's what people recognize now, right? Crisis, we're not ready for crisis. Not even a ice storm that's predicted 7 days ago. Not even for a pandemic that we have time on.
We're not even ready for the liquor pandemic.
So that's what infrastructure really means.
Yeah. So now we thank you for your contribution, Dr. Duke. It's well needed and it's well handled. And right now we are going to go to Mary, and we have a question here, Mary. First, before you answer, someone posed something there a little while. Dr. Duke, can you bring it back? Macmillan Lady Mac is saying some Tobagonians never been to Trinidad, and some Trinidadians never been to Tobago. And when you mix ignorance, we remain backwards.
True.
Yes.
So, Mary, can you give us what you were about to say all the time? We called on you, but you were frozen.
Okay, before I go on to this question, was I? Okay.
You were already...
when we talk about what you want for Tobago, to see what Tobago, I think in order for you to do anything, you have to have a healthy nation. And when you have a country where the life expectancy of a man is 67.2 years, and the life expectancy of a woman is 72.6 years, if you don't have a healthy nation, you won't have anything else. So first thing, we have to restructure and rebuild our healthcare system. We need to put good health education out there so that our people will be healthy, so that our nation will be built based on health. Going to water and electricity, which is key. The structure of water and electricity in Tobago is broken. You cannot still be living in the 20th century and you're still having water shortage, or you're still having blackouts going on. So we need to bring our electricity and our water systems into the 20th century with us and the 21st century with us. It is lagging behind, and these are the things we need to bring forward in order to help Tobago to be on the best foot for development and continuing development, along with all the agriculture infrastructure, along with better opportunities for entrepreneurship. All these things come if you have a healthy nation and you have electricity and water supply that is there with you in the 21st century.
Mary, and I want to thank you for that, and I want to help you that you could speak a little bit concerning knowing what we are suffering from. Find out what the people really suffering from, like diabetes. Should we have specialists?
Yeah.
Should we have specialists for wounds and wound care?
Yes. I am not even sure there's a diabetic specialist nurse on the island, because people are being given a diagnosis of diabetes and give them metformin and they get on with it. They have no health education. The amputation rate in Tobago is so high. At the minute, I am actually working with a young man to save his foot. I've just DHL a whole box of dressings to Tobago for him. And I'm doing videos to apply these dressings because they are not available in Tobago. And I'm hoping to save his foot. He's lost about 4 toes already. And I'm hoping, working with him, there's not even a dressing clinic for people to go to, because this man's wife has no knowledge and she's doing the dressings at home.
She's not supposed.
Oh my
God.
That
is what I'm saying. If you have a healthcare system where your men, the average age they will live to is 67.5, where they're retiring now at 60. So after 60 years old, in 7 years, they're gone. Your women live a little bit longer because, and as well with that, goes with the 67 point, goes also because the rate of violent crimes among men help to contribute to that. On our women are living to 72 years old. So we don't really have a very aging population in Trinidad and Tobago. So the young people are dying very young, and they are dying from chronic diseases that is treatable and manageable. Okay, so if you have a healthy nation, you have a wealthy nation. Because if your people live longer and they are stronger to live, they will work more, they will work harder, and there will be more services put into the community. There's another point I want to make.
Mary, you have 1 minute. We have another question here.
Okay, when Earl spoke about what we can do for foreign people like us who are abroad and want to go back home, we need a total system overhaul. You cannot go back home to the system that has been there for 20 years and failed so many of our returning citizens in the past. You have to overhaul that system and start again from the bottom up and rebuild, so that if we go back home with our knowledge, skills, and abilities, we are going back to a new, fresh, informative system that is ready to work with you. And you need to also have a department for returning citizens. Somebody who is responsible, who is going to take the returning citizens. This is the opportunities here for you. This is what we are going to do to help you and to support you, to help build the Tobago that we all love. And for me, my biggest thing is healthcare. I want to go home. I want to go home and work in healthcare. I want to do lots for diabetes because I know I can, but I cannot go and work in a broken system. It has to be revamped and take out.
Thank you.
There's something there. Read it.
You guys hear from Mary. That's a topic that Mary. Hold on, everybody. You have spoken, and your point is well taken. And this is an expert in her field. And what you are saying
is that physiotherapists do some forms of wound care, but it's not comprehensive wound care. So this isn't to take away from Vern's work, Donette. This is actually very specific, and she's not wrong. Vern serves a role, but Vern is also a physiotherapist, which means that we need more of Vern.
We need wound care specialists.
Vern is amazing, but Vern is also doing extra because she knows there's a shortage. And so she's going to do a whole lot more of wound care, but wound care that actually requires, even Vern needs some specialized nurses for
to work with her.
You need tissue viability nurses. You need nurses that are specialized in tissue viability. You need nurses that are specialized in diabetic foot ulcers. You need one person that does everything. You need to specialize it and put them into specialist roles so that person can capitalize on their knowledge, focus wholly on diabetic feet. Too many diabetics are losing their
too many doctors in Tobago performing out of their field. Maybe they know something. In the healthcare working with geriatric patients.
Vern is not operating outside of her field, Coco. Please clarify.
No, well, I don't mean Vern. I don't know who is Vern. But I'm speaking general. Okay, sorry. Cindy, I know you will come in for Vern. I don't know who is Vern. I'm not speaking about Vern. I am saying there are a lot of people in Tobago. Every doctor wants to cut off a foot. Every doctor wants to be an eye doctor. You go to them with your eye, they won't even send you to a specialist. They want to give you ointment. I am talking generally in Tobago. I was in Tobago, and I used to deal with patients that have ulcers that was very old. And it's a special nurse coming. Sometimes she used to cut out that gray flesh in that wound. And I used to be like, my God, she will clip that out. Clean that out.
Donette Hazel is saying that individuals need to go onto insulin because they're not compliant with tablets.
Tablet?
No.
And the next thing. Insulin alone doesn't help some people. You have to be on both. As a diabetic, I am speaking. The doctor is in the house. She can come in.
Okay. Now, with what Donette is saying, that is sooner, I beg to differ, because there are the medicines that are available in Tobago have very poor efficacy. They are all medicines. They are much newer tablets. They are GLP-1 inhibitors. They are tablets that help you to secrete the glucose from your body through your urine. That those are the gliflozin type of medication. There are a lot more medication that Tobago people can have before they reach the stage of insulin. I was already diabetic for nearly 15 years before I hit insulin, because there are so much other tablets that you can use. Compliance is a great problem with the people in Tobago, because as we all know, everybody likes the bush medicine. Everybody likes to go by the overman and the overwoman who is going to give them a bit of medicine because they're not diabetic, and it's somebody who do something to them why they are like that. So we have all these other things that we need to look up in Tobago where diabetes is concerned. But the main issue is education, education, education. It is not limited.